Hey boyos, we're back. We're continuing our journey. This has been a sort of 3 week journey so far, taking a look at the box office and kind of taking a look. I guess what the main goal here is to see how HBO Max is affecting the box office, how day and date delivery maybe isn't the best for the box office. There are a lot of factors. Okay, there are a lot of factors to keep in mind when it comes to the box office. For one, the Delta variant is starting to get out of hand. Okay, I'm hoping that won't be for too long. Everyone should go out and get their vaccines. Go out and get it done. Just got approved by the FDA, so there's no reason for you not to get the vaccine. Of course, if you're immunocompromised, I get it, but everyone else, go get your vaccine. So then I could start going to the movies and not wearing a mask anymore, okay? Because I'm really sick of wearing my mask when I go to the movies, okay? I've got a lot of data here to look at with you boys and girls and anything in between. I'm not sure if this data proves anything, but there is some interesting stuff here. First, we're going to look at the weekend box office, okay? We're going to look at that. And then someone brought up the fact that we should actually compare all the HBO Max movies, which I brought up a good chunk of those movies so we can compare and contrast and look at that. Also, I want to continue looking into why the Suicide Squad is failing at the box office as hard as it is. So let's take a look at the weekend box office, shall we? Weekend box office, here it is. At number one, still, we have Free Guy, okay? With a 33% drop from week 1 to week 2 with $18 million. That is great. And this is one of those movies that was not released. It's only released in theaters. And it has, I think, a 45-day theater run. So purely theaters. And the proof is in the pudding, I would say. Especially when you compare this 33% here to the Suicide Squad's 71% drop, and then into its third weekend, that 54% drop, which we'll get there in just a second. Continuing on, we've got Paw Patrol the movie making $13 million. This movie is day and date with Paramount Plus, I believe. But as I stated in a previous video, it seems like children's movies have continued to perform very well at the box office, despite the fact that there's a pandemic. Kids just like to watch movies. Jungle Cruise still cruising, as they would say. Jungle Cruise still cruising at number 3 with $6 million. That's a 31% drop. Don't Breathe 2 had a 52% drop, $5 million, and then Respect at number 5. And then, of course, at number 6, we've got The Suicide Squad with $3 million. There's another interesting one down here, Reminiscence. Okay, this movie, this was its first weekend, and it got 9th place and opened below $2 million. This is a Warner Brothers movie. Yeah, this is an abysmal release for this movie. Now, I do think there are a few factors here to consider with this movie. First and foremost, the HBO Max release. I've seen a lot of things online saying that it's not even performing well on HBO Max. I did watch this movie, and I will say this movie is not good. It's a not good movie. So it has that going for it. It has that going against it, I should say. Yeah, not a very good movie. So it makes sense that it's doing poorly, but less than 2 million is insane. And I do think it has to do with both HBO Max. People see it on HBO Max and they're like, okay, we'll watch it later. I also think it has to do with the marketing. I've seen zero marketing for this movie other than when I'm actually seeing a movie. When I'm actually seeing a movie, they show trailers for it. So that is something. But I think the real telling one, I just thought that was interesting. Reminiscence is doing really badly. And it's a bad movie. So I believe its budget was somewhere between 60 million and 80 million. So with a less than $2 million opening, that's pretty soul crushing for the creator of this movie for sure. I still think the interesting stat here is that Free Guy continues to dominate with a low percentage drop. Well, the Suicide Squad isn't even in the top 5, and this is only its third week. This was a huge movie, you know what I mean? And it's just really underperforming. So I wanted to take this time to take a look at some of the HBO Max movies box office. Okay, so let's use Free Guy as an example here. 33% is an amazing percentage drop to a second weekend. And I want to preface this as well. I want to say Free Guy is a good movie as well, and people are liking Free Guy. That is another reason why it's performing well at the box office, right? But 33%, that's pretty telling. And then if you look at something like Jungle Cruise, right, which had a 54% drop off, that's a pretty average drop off from first weekend to second weekend. 54%, that's pretty average. And then if you look at something like Black Widow, which had a 67% drop into its second weekend, that's a pretty sizable jump. So we'll use those as kind of our barometers of success and unsuccess. I've got a few HBO Max movies here to take a look at, okay? So, of course, the first one we got to look at is The Suicide Squad, right? This is the whole reason we're here, the whole reason we're talking. It's because The Suicide Squad with its sizable 71% drop. And these are all HBO day and dates, right? Then you come over to Space Jam with a 69% drop. You know, I think that we're starting to see a pattern here, don't you think? 69% drop. This movie shouldn't have had a 69% drop, you know? In the Heights with a 63% drop. You know, we're starting to see a pattern with these day and date releases. Godzilla versus Kong had a pretty good weekend, okay, with a 56% drop. So Godzilla versus Kong, and we got to remember Godzilla versus Kong came out in a weird time, right? This came out sort of earlier this year, so sort of a weird time, but also I think people were pretty hype on this movie as well. So, but still, that's an interesting one. I wonder why that is. I wonder why a 56% drop. That's the one kind of outlier. And then, of course, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat had a 73% drop. So the one outlier here between all of these, and we can't look at Reminiscence yet, but the one outlier here between all of these movies is Godzilla vs. Kong. And I really think it's just because it was one of the first big blockbuster movies to come out in a while, and people were hyped to go see it. But they're all between 60 and 71%. And I think that has everything to do with HBO Max. Like I said, this is a sort of confusing time we're in. Okay. I think it's okay that HBO Max is releasing these movies day and date. Okay. And it's for the very reason that I think if people aren't vaccinated, they should stay home. And a lot of people aren't vaccinated, and if they can't go out, they should be able to watch these movies. And I agree with that. I do, actually. But next year, I think we're going to see people head on back to the theaters. And by people, I mean studios. We're going to see an interesting one here, not this week, but next week. And maybe I'll make another video when that comes out. If you guys have any ideas for me to look at some more numbers, let me know. I really enjoy looking at these box office numbers. But let me know in the comments. But an interesting one is going to be Shang-Chi, right? Shang-Chi is only being released in theaters. and I think it's having a month window where it's in theaters only. There was some backlash because Bob Chapek, the new CEO of Disney, said that this movie is an experiment. I know some of the cast didn't like being called an experiment. What he meant was the release strictly in theaters. Still, Bob Chapek is completely blowing his opportunity as CEO here. He's really not doing a great job. But yeah, I'm interested to see that movie. I think that movie is going to be very telling. It seems like common sense that a movie is going to perform better at the box office, especially in its second weekend if it's on a streaming platform. It just seems like common sense to me. But we'll really see, because Black Widow, as we saw here a second ago, had a 68% drop, which is massive. A massive drop into its second weekend. And I know a lot of people could say that's because they didn't like the movie and the movie was bad. I don't agree with those people. I think Black Widow is a great movie. But even still, it's a Marvel movie, and I don't think it matters. I think that movie was going to perform well anyway. And if you look at the Disney Plus numbers, it made a shit ton of money on Disney Plus as well. I really think it has everything to do with it being on Disney Plus Access. So we're going to see with Shang-Chi. People need to get vaccinated so we can start going to the movies, and my argument can be a bit more coherent, because right now it is a little incoherent, my argument, by saying we need to keep the theaters alive, but I also agree with HBO Max. But the only reason I agree with HBO Max is because people are not getting their vaccinations. And if people get their vaccinations, I will go full hog into defending the theaters, because I don't want to see the theaters go away. I think if anything, these theaters should be, or these studios should be supporting the theaters as much as they can to keep them alive, because this is the art form. I saw a great comparison. Denis Villeneuve, right? He's directing Dune. And he said, watching Dune on HBO Max on your TV is like taking your water ski, your water jet, into a pool. It's like taking it into a pool. And yeah, I get it. I'm not saying you can't enjoy movies at home. I know a lot of people prefer watching their movies at home. A lot of people don't take this shit as seriously as I do, because I love the theaters and I love movies. But I'm personally of the opinion people don't realize they want the theatrical experience until they're having that theatrical experience. And you kind of have to force their hand a little bit, okay? And that may sound shady and shitty and very anti-consumer. But fuck you, go see the movies in theaters. Come on, go support your local theater, dude. Dolby Atmos is amazing. IMAX is amazing. All right, I'm going to step off my soapbox here. Make sure you subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate if you hit the bell as well. We're posting constantly on the channel. Jake and Corey podcast is up every Monday. The Loner Gamecast is live on YouTube every Tuesday. And if you'd like to watch that show live, the Loner Gamecast, we do it live on twitch.tv/lonercast at 3:30 on Mondays. Also, I've been streaming a lot on twitch.tv/lonercast as well. We beat all of Ghost of Tsushima Iki Island. We played some 12 minutes last week, which is a weird fucking game. It's a weird game. And I plan on playing some Boyfriend Dungeon probably on Wednesday. So come hang out over there as well. I appreciate you guys. You guys have been very supportive in these videos. Let me know what else you want to see. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.